Hello, my name's Tina MacDonald. Thank you for joining me today. So today's counselling conversation is going to be looking at a theory and a technique that's used with complex trauma, and it's called the shark cage. It was developed by Ursula Benstead, who is a feminist practitioner. I believe she's Australian. It's a psychoeducational tool, so it's about understanding how we work and how sometimes we can go on to repeat cycle. So abusive relationships, re-traumatization, re-victimization, keep going around the same circle. So it helps arm you as a person who might recognize that cycle within themselves, and it gives you some background knowledge. And it also, if you use it completely as Ursula uses it with her client work, she uses it either as male perpetrator, female victim, or vice versa, and it actually has a full set of rules and tick boxes and everything that you can go with. But the way I use it is the actual standalone metaphor. On a personal level, again, just the way I work, in my opinion, I feel that metaphors are very helpful in that they can help you visualise something, as well as that psychoeducational tool that runs in the background of why we use this visualisation. So I tend to use it as, when we walk through life, we are involving lots of different people and lots of different sections of our society around us. But that doesn't mean to say that it's okay for all of them to be let in. So if you visualise a shark cage when you're going down into the ocean, you've got these bars in front of you and around you. That's how the metaphor works. So the ocean is life, you're inside your shark cage, and you're down in the water. So you've got beautiful clownfish, you've got the microcosm of life going on around you, and these pass through and go around, and that's all okay. But every so often you might come across a great white shark, and you might not want that shark inside your cage. So the shark cage, when we work together in a counselling setting, is about us looking at boundaries and looking at what bars you need to put in place in your life in order for you to feel safe in that big wide ocean. So it's examples of what boundaries look like. It's examples of how do you know when a boundary has been breached? How do you know when somebody's banging up against the bars of your shark cage? How do you recognise that so that you can then say, well, that particular bar there, that's the one that they always get through on. That's the one that I need to be working on to reinforce. So it's looking at what your rights are as a human. It's looking at interactions. It's looking at your past. Did you have a caregiver who was in a traumatic situation and maybe didn't have chance to develop their own shark cage? So therefore you were not having learnt behaviour of what a shark cage looks like. And so therefore you didn't realise the understanding of building your own. So it's about going back to that previous video of resilience, when we're looking at that as a trauma situation, and that resilience that you have got as a survivor, and saying, I need to look at certain sections to protect myself, not to shut myself off, because the cage is open, as it should be. We're interacting, but we're saying we're interacting on my terms, in my boundaries. And that's something that perhaps, particularly if you've come from a setting where your caregiver didn't have a shark cage in place, that means it's not always a go-to place. It's not something you feel comfortable to do. So we look at complex trauma, we look how the world around you and perceives you when you reinforce your bars. How does it feel to be in control of your boundaries? Is this a new sensation for you? Are you comfortable with it? And also, does it make you feel guilty because you then say, no, that's my boundary? Does it make others around you feel uncomfortable because suddenly you found a voice that they're not used to hearing? All of these complex things are things that you can work through with a counsellor. So I use this on a regular basis because I feel it's helpful to be able to talk about boundaries without it being the pressure initially about what your boundaries are, because you might not know that, and it might take us time in our counselling relationship in order for you to feel comfortable to even recognise that you have the right to have boundaries, that it's okay to put up some bars in your shark cage. And no, you don't have to have a great white bulldozing its way through your world because it chooses to. So again, I don't own the properties to the shark cage. It's all down to some magnificent work done by Ursula Benstead, and I thought it might be helpful, again, as a pluralistic counsellor, to show you the types of things that together yourself and a counsellor, or yourself and my position as your counsellor, might work. Because as a pluralistic counsellor, we have lots of different things that are open to us. And this is just one of them. Works for lots of people, doesn't work for other people, and that's okay. But again, it was just a counselling conversation around a concept, around some research about things that are in place, and how by taking parts of it and making it a unique situation, as you are, as I am, in our counselling session, and as I've spoken about before, that when you work with a private counsellor, you have the options of lots of different ways to go. And this is just one of them. So I hope it was of interest. And as always, please subscribe, leave some messages, have a look at my website, have a look at Facebook, and perhaps we'll meet someday online or talk face to face in a counselling session, if we ever get back to that. So thank you, please take care. We are in phase 1, coming out of a pandemic in Scotland, and who knows where we will end up. But if we have our shark cage in place, we'll be fine. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.